Kings and Queens of England in chronological order, and how they died.
Athelstan, the first King of England, is the only English monarch whose death is unknown. Edmund I died on the feast of St. Augustine. He was stabbed to death in a brawl at Buckle-church in Gloucester. Edred suffered from ill health that gradually got worse and led to his early death of 25 years old. King Edwig was murdered soon after the instigation of Canute, attempting to rally resistance in the west. King Edgar peacefully died at the summit of his power at Winchester, the ancient capital of Wessex. Edward's short reign was brought to an end as he was assassinated at an estate at the Gap of Corfe in Dorset. Ethelred peacefully died in his sleep. He was buried at the Royal Minster at Wimborne in Dorset. It's been written that King Edmund died from multiple stab wounds whilst he was defecating on a privy. It is believed that King Canute the Great died of a natural illness in Shaftesbury in the south of England. King Harold Hereford passed away from a mysterious illness in Oxford on March 17, 1040. King Harthaunt's likely cause of death was a stroke, brought about by an excessive intake of alcohol. King Edward was forced to submit to his banishment, which helped cause a series of strokes which led to his death. King Harold died at the Battle of Hastings 1066, being killed by an arrow which struck him in the eye. King William suffered a fatal injury during the town's burning. He lay dying in the priory of St. Gervais. King William II died after being shot by an arrow whilst hunting in the forest. King Henry I allegedly died from eating too many lamprey fish. King Stephen joined the Crusade of 1101. He fought in the Second Battle of Ramla, where he was captured and later executed. King Henry II died of a fever and dysentery on July 6, 1189, at the age of 56. King Richard died in France. He was fatally wounded while besieging the castle of the Vicomte of Limoges. King John I died of dysentery, contracted while campaigning in eastern England during late 1216. King Henry III died of a stroke on November 16, 1272, at the age of 65. King Edward I died from dysentery at Barrow-on-Sands near Carlisle after months of ill health. King Edward II was murdered at Berkeley Castle in September 1327. King Edward III died of a stroke at London Borough of Richmond upon Thames in the southwest of London. King Richard II died either by murder or by self-starvation in Pontefract Castle in 1400. King Henry IV had leprosy or syphilis, which helped cause his death of a heart condition in 1413. King Henry V's success was short-lived as he died of dysentery in 1422 in France. King Henry VI died of melancholia, but it is also suspected that this was to cover up his murder. King Edward IV reportedly died of either apoplexy, melancholy, or a series of severe fevers. Edward V died at the Tower of London, imprisoned alongside his brother, and later murdered in mysterious circumstances. King Richard III died from blows to the head by Welsh foot soldiers armed with halberds. King Henry VII died of tuberculosis. He was buried in Westminster Abbey next to his wife, Elizabeth of York. King Henry VIII had a leg wound from his jousting accident that had become ulcerated, but died of natural causes. The young King Edward VI died of tuberculosis in 1553 at the Palace of Placentia. Queen Mary I possibly died from ovarian cysts or uterine cancer November 17, 1558. Queen Elizabeth I died at Richmond Palace after a short illness that was possibly blood poisoning. King James VI died by suffering a stroke at his favourite hunting lodge in Theobalds on March 27, 1625. Charles I was trialled in the House of Commons and executed on the 30th of January 1649. King Charles II died of a stroke in the Palace of Whitehall, London in 1685. King James II died in 1701 of a cerebral hemorrhage at the court in exile, Saint-Germain-en-Laye. King William III broke his collarbone while riding his favourite horse after a few days of deteriorating health. He died. The Queen suffered from gout, dropsy and hemorrhage before her sudden death of a stroke. King George I died of a stroke on a trip to Hanover on the 11th of June 1727. King George II died of an acute aortic dissection in October 1760 at Kensington Palace in London. King George III's physical as well as mental powers deserted him, and he became blind dying at Windsor Castle. King George IV died from upper gastrointestinal bleeding, resulting from the rupture of a blood vessel in his stomach. King William IV died of heart failure at the age of 71 at Windsor Castle. Queen Victoria's eyesight had become clouded by cataracts, and she was in a wheelchair before her death of a hemorrhagic stroke. On the 6th of May 1910, King Edward VII suffered a series of heart attacks and died. King George V died a few months after undergoing an operation for lung cancer, but there were also rumors he was murdered. King Edward VIII died on May 28, 1972 in Paris. He had suffered from throat cancer. King George VI died in the night from a coronary thrombosis at the age of 56 in February 1952. Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022 at Balmoral Castle in Scotland of old age. Today, King Charles is 75 years old, being born on the 14th of November 1948. Please, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot.